Good evening and welcome to the main news coming to you live from our Pockets Hill studios. I am Tariro Manamike. We also have Susan Masona at the Sign Language Desk, and later on we'll be crossing over to our Montrose studios to give you part of the news bulletin.
And I'm Joyce Mabika. Let's take a look at our leading stories tonight.
President Emmerson Mnangagwa launches National Development Strategy 2.
The 5-year economic blueprint consolidates our previous programs, the Transitional Stabilization Program and NDS-1.
And Professor Mthuli Ncube unpacks reform-based and growth-oriented 2026 budget.
In other news, South Africa not invited to G20 2026 as United States President Donald Trump renews claims of white genocide.
And in sport, former FC Platinum coach Norman Mapeza unveiled as the Scotland head coach.
Well, these are the leading stories. Let's now take a look at the news in detail. President Emmerson Mnangagwa has launched a 5-year economic blueprint, the National Development Strategy 2, calling for thorough implementation of the policy framework for the attainment of an upper middle income status by 2030.
The launch of the National Development Strategy 2 follows the expiration of the National Development Strategy 1, which government is building on terms of the development and the growth projections that have been registered over the years. The National Development Strategy 1 brought infrastructure development projects such as the Trabablas, the construction of highways across the country. Building on the success of the National Development Strategy 1, President Emmerson Mnangagwa successfully launched the National Development Strategy 2, which is meant to consolidate the gains attained during implementation of National Development Strategy 1.
The success of any plan or strategy lies largely in its comprehensive rollout and the timeless execution. To this end, the implementation of the National Development Strategy number 2 will be anchored on robust and well-coordinated supportive structures that promote communication and dissemination, coherence, accountability, and inclusivity for the delivery of our national priorities and objectives. In order to realize high-impact results, strengthen performance management and accountability, the NDS-2 will be monitored and evaluated through a digitally enabled integrated results-based management framework. This will be augmented by dedicated data units in ministries, departments, and agencies to enhance validation and reporting.
The importance of the Strategy 2 is anchored on its implementation based on the value addition, modernization, and industrialization of the country's economy.
To ensure that our communities benefit from our natural resources and endowments, the strategy will prioritize industrialization, modernization, value addition, and beneficiation, predominantly of agriculture and mineral commodities. The importance of infrastructure, orderly and planned human resettlements in our pursuit of Vision 2030 cannot be overemphasized. The strategy will equally focus on the implementation of comprehensive interventions in energy, in transport, ICT, water and sanitation, as well as housing development. These are key enablers for inclusive economic growth and structural transformation.
The 5-year economic blueprint is a result of wide consultations which involved government institutions, development partners, and other stakeholders.
The NDS-2 is thus an outcome of broad-based national consultations. I say to you, well done, Makorokoto Amhlope. It encapsulates the voices, the hopes, and aspirations of our people from across the country. The various perspectives of the private sector, faith-based organizations, development partners, and the diaspora were also taken into account. It is a document that embodies unity, self-reliance, and shared responsibility In line with our national development philosophy, the National Development Strategy 2 seeks to consolidate the gains achieved to date. My government assures citizens of timely, people-centered, and a quality service delivery befitting an empowered and a prosperous upper middle-income society. In line with our Zimbabwe's Open for Business drive, the NDS2 will continue to advance reforms aimed at enhancing competitiveness and reducing the cost as well as the complexity of doing business.
The National Development Strategy 2 is anchored on 10 thematic areas which are critical for the attainment of Vision 2030 goals. Bruce Jawanda, SABC News, State House.
The just launched National Development Strategy 2 is expected to accelerate Zimbabwe's drive towards an upper middle income society by 2030.
For the past few years, Zimbabwe's economy has been on a transformative journey from the Transitional Stabilization Program that ran from 2018 to 2020 to the National Development Strategy 1 that sought to grow the economy towards an envisioned upper middle income society by the year 2030. The just launched National Development Strategy 2 will seek to grow and accelerate on the benefits and the gains of the first phase of the NDS. Through 10 thematic areas that include macroeconomic stability, youth empowerment, job creation, devolution and decentralization, image building, international relations, and international trade, the National Development Strategy 2 will seek to further drive Zimbabwe towards an upper middle income economy while also achieving the goals under the United Nations 2030 agenda as well as the Agenda 2063 of the United Nations. According to the Minister of Finance, Economic Development and Investment Promotion, Professor Mthuli Ncube, the shift from 14 thematic areas to 10 thematic areas is meant to drive all focus towards Zimbabwe's single vision of a sustainable development of an envisioned upper middle income society by the year 2030.
Well, we decided to consolidate some of the thematic areas where there was overlap, or we needed to, realign things. We did that. We came down to 10 thematic areas, and then eliminated the other 4. And this is still adequate as a way to drive our economy forward, to drive our society forward, all towards achieving Vision 2030. The 10 areas, for instance, look into the issues of maintaining macroeconomic stability, supporting economic transformation and inclusive growth, investing in our infrastructure, supporting the devolution, for example, ensuring food security, and also supporting value addition in the mining sector, in the manufacturing sector, and making sure that we continue to build a wonderful image through our international relations, engagement and re-engagement. We did not forget security, that we can only develop in an environment of peace.
Honorable Minister, from the Transitional Stabilization Program that ran from 2018 to 2020, the NDS1 that has just come to an end, and the envisioned NDS2. Take us through this economic transformation from recovery to growth that the country has experienced.
We started off in 2018 with the launch of the TSP, the Transitional Stabilization Program, just for 2 years, to start realigning things to eliminate the twin budget deficits, which was the budget deficit itself, but also the external imbalance in the current account. So those were eliminated, and then we were also able to realign our monetary policy during the TSP period. We then transitioned to NDS 1, which started in 2021, ending in this year in 2025, where we focused on the 14 pillars, and we began to really drive economic development in various areas. The achievements have been remarkable. For a start, on the macro front, we've achieved macroeconomic stability by introducing the ZiG currency. We're beginning to see fruits of inclusive growth. Poverty reduction is happening. We haven't forgotten our vulnerable. We've supported them through various social protection programs.
including the Fumvudza Intwasa program.
The United Nations Resident and Humanitarian Coordinator, His Excellency Edward Cullen, celebrated the gains that have been made by Zimbabwe under the National Development Strategy 1, saying the set goals within the NDS2 are truly achievable.
The United Nations firmly believes that this national development strategy is a robust national blueprint that we are proud to align with. It forms the bedrock of our current Zimbabwe UN cooperation framework, which ends in 2026, and indeed the next Zimbabwe UN Sustainable Development Cooperation framework that we are seized with to develop for the period 2027 to 2030.
So the journey of Zimbabwe's transformative economic journey continues to gain momentum, and the National Development Strategy 2 will further cement the vision by the Second Republic. Olina Ndori, ZBC News, State House.
As the National Development Strategy 1, NDS1, comes to an end, the country's landscape has been transformed by massive infrastructure development projects, which have been the hallmark of the national blueprint.
The NDS1 period was marked by an aggressive drive to modernize the country's transport sector. Government strategy focused on flagship projects to boost regional connectivity, improve on commuter safety, as well as create a foundation for economic growth. Key achievements include the completion of the multi-level Trabablas interchange in Harare, the major expansion of the Robert Gabriel Mugabe International Airport, and extensive road rehabilitation across the country. The main aim has been to unclog major arteries of commerce and improve connectivity ahead of the next phase, the NDS2. Where drivers used to budget for long hours of delays, traffic now flows freely. For motorists, this translates to massive savings in time and fuel.
Ichiri mbudzi tatine ma challenges ekuti pano ipapa waitoziva kuti ukasvika nguva dzekuma around 3 kusvika ku 5 o'clock pafambike paita jemu imwe yekuti waita 3-4 hours uri mujemu kuti upinde muHarare kana kubuda muHarare.
Ichiri roundabout ichiri mbudzi taita congestion taitora nguva kusvika kwatiri kuda paishandisa fuel wakawanda dzimwe nguva nachishandisa manual maclash chaiwo aifa.
Road yedu yakanaka zvakanakira kuti one even mota chaiyo wakwanisa kunzwa masuspension maroads acho unoyatsonzwa kuti yakafa pakati. This
development goes beyond the capital. Signature projects such as the rehabilitation of the Harare Bedbridge Road and the modernization of the border post have been prioritized. Meanwhile, the rehabilitation of the Bulawayo Victoria Falls Road is ongoing, further boosting tourism in the country. As the National Development Strategy 2 was launched today, the expectation is that it will solidify these milestones and expedite the ongoing infrastructural development projects across the nation. Nyasha Makota, ZBC News, Harare.
Economic Development and Investment Promotion Minister, Professor Mthuli Ncube, has delivered a reform-based, stability-focused and growth-oriented 2026 national budget, pronouncing measures to expand the economy, protect vulnerable groups, as well as to increase overall production.
The day that everyone has been waiting for eventually came this Thursday, and even the President, Comrade Emmerson Mnangagwa, spared time to be in the August House here in Mount Hamden for the 2026 fiscal policy. A national budget is a document that defines how the government plans to use money that is accrued from taxes to finance social services. The Minister of Finance, Economic Development and Investment Promotion, Professor Mthuli Ncube, delivered the 2026 national budget that will define the economic trajectory for Zimbabwe next year.
In 2026, economic growth is projected at 5%, underpinned by the following assumptions. One, expected a normal to above normal rainfall with irrigated cropping expected to boost the performance of the agricultural sector. Two, currency and exchange rate and price stability. A prudent fiscal policy and tight monetary policy will anchor the currency and the exchange rate and inflation stability.
announcing the 290 billion national budget, which is consistent with the National Development Strategy 2 aspirations document that was launched earlier this Thursday at the State House. The largest chunk of the budget went to the education sector at 47.4 billion ZiG. Whilst in line with the National Development Strategy 2, the Minister of Finance also prioritized the needs of the infrastructure sector.
The 2026 national budget has set aside 46.8 billion ZiG for the security sector, for hiring and training of personnel, provision of consumables and rations, construction and rehabilitation of staff accommodation. An amount of 30.4 billion ZiG has been allocated to the Ministry of Health and Child Care through the 2026 national budget. This is meant to strengthen primary health care by improving access to quality health care, particularly in rural and underserved areas. For agriculture specifically, the 2026 national budget has set aside 26.8 billion ZiG.
The tone has been set aside for the 2026 national budget, with Treasury promising to fulfill all the aspirations of the people. Stanley James, ZBC News, Mount Hampden.
The 2026 national budget presented this Thursday has created a firm foundation for increased economic growth by funding key social services while creating a competitive economic environment.
The US $9.5 billion national budget, anchored by the 10-pillar National Development Strategy 2, is aimed at elevating Zimbabwe into an upper-middle-income economy by the year 2030. The Minister of Finance, Economic Development and Investment Promotion, Professor Mthulengwe, made allocations to several ministries in order to facilitate economic growth and development. But the budget came up with several measures that are aimed at increasing economic activity, including the liberalization of the gold mining sector, as well as the categorization of royalties in order to increase foreign currency generation.
The price of gold has been going up, so obviously instead of those who may want to invest, instead of keeping money in the bank as cash, you can also invest in gold. The increase in royalties is also very good, because as you have noted, the royalties are in bands, and where we are currently now is 10%.
The royalties on gold, for a long time companies have been coming to Zimbabwe, taking our gold, but giving us pertinence. But in this budget now, there are proposals for up to 10% in terms of gold royalties. So these are some of the positives that came out of this budget.
The slashing of the IMTT tax by 0.5% has been largely welcomed by the business community.
It's certainly going to stimulate and rejuvenate transacting in the local currency. The local currency currently is enjoying stability in terms of its exchange rate, and most companies right now and members of the public, you've been yearning to access the ZiG.
The announcement by the Minister of Measures to incentivize a 24-hour economy, especially for the manufacturing industry, has also been largely welcomed.
If there are incentives on the 24-hour production, we're going to see more of these local production, producing, and this will then increase in terms of the local goods and will lead to a GDP which is stable.
This budget shows the dedication by government to improve the economic well-being of Zimbabweans, the commitment by government to continue to fund the health delivery system, especially the rehabilitation of public hospitals, is aimed at ensuring that everyone has access to affordable health, and also measures to facilitate a 24-hour economy is set to increase job creation in the country. The start of the National Development Strategy 2, which was launched by President Emmerson Mnangagwa this Thursday, is also set to put in motion efforts to achieve an upper middle income economy by the year 2030.
Now, in other news, the Netherlands and Italy have reaffirmed their commitment to strengthening the bilateral relations with Zimbabwe.
This Thursday, outgoing Netherlands ambassador to Zimbabwe, Her Excellency Martha van Wyk, paid a farewell courtesy to President Emmerson Mnangagwa at State House. Briefing journalists after her closed-door meeting with the president, she said Zimbabwe-Netherlands ties have grown over the years, celebrating success made in doubling bilateral trade as well as strides made in the export of horticultural projects such as blueberries and avocado from Zimbabwe to the Netherlands.
The Netherlands, and not just our airport, but also the port of Rotterdam, they are like a gateway to Europe, which is a huge market. And a lot of the horticultural produce ends up in the supermarkets in the Netherlands. And Dutch people just love the blueberries and they love the avocados. And yeah, it's wonderful to see that change happen.
With cordial relations and engagements in the infrastructural development sector, in the construction of the Kariba Dam in the 1920s, as well as the construction of the Tubi Mukosi Dam, and engagements in the agricultural sector, Italian envoy to Zimbabwe, His Excellency Umberto Malnati, also paid a farewell courtesy to President Emmerson Mnangagwa. Speaking to journalists, he narrated the relationship between the two countries, saying as he departs, he continues to push enhance the relations between the two countries.
The strongest cooperation is certainly is in agriculture. As I said to the President, we have just launched in just 2025 4 projects in agriculture. Two, the frontier with Mozambique that are executed by FAO, financed by Italy, and other 2, one in Masvingo, another in another area, the central Zimbabwe, by 2 our NGO. The total amount is around $12 million for this developments in agriculture.
His Excellency Malnati also celebrated Zimbabwe's rich tourism, saying the Victoria Falls is a marvel that should be celebrated and visited by all. This comes as Zimbabwe has been named as the #1 country to visit by the Forbes magazine. Olina Ndori, ZBC News, State House.
The newly appointed commander of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces, General Emmanuel Matatu, has handed over command of the Zimbabwe National Army to Lieutenant General Asha Walter Tafumane at a ceremony held at Charles Gumbo Barracks in Harare this Thursday.
I, Lieutenant General Asha Walter Tafumane, have been sworn allegiance to Zimbabwe and its laws.
The Charles Gumbo Parade Square was a display of unity as hundreds gathered to witness the handover takeover ceremony as the outgoing commander Zimbabwe National Army General Emmanuel Matatu officially passed the command to Lieutenant General Asha Walter Tafumane.
It is my conviction that under your stewardship, General Tafumane, the Army will continue to excel. The challenges it faces are not insurmountable, and this should inspire you to come up with innovative ideas to move the Army forward.
I am committed to live up to the great expectations of our great nation, Zimbabwe. I shall remain committed to uphold a high standard of loyalty, integrity, professionalism, dedication to duty, and selfless service as we all continue with the task of defending our country's peace, stability, sovereignty, and territorial integrity. I would also like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the tireless efforts of the outgoing commander, General E. Matatu.
The Minister of Defense, Honorable Opamchinguri Kashiri, was the chief witnessing officer.
Today we witness the smooth, dignified, and professional transition of command from the outgoing commander of the Zimbabwe National Army, General Emmanuel Matatu, to the incoming commander, Lieutenant General Asha Walter Tafumane. Today, you are being honored to serve as the CDF and the Commander ZNA respectively. Please take heed that the responsibilities bestowed before you are indeed challenging. And the high on your tasks is that of defending Zimbabwe's territorial integrity, its sovereignty, and also you are expected to protect the people of Zimbabwe and their resources.
Prior to his latest appointment, Lieutenant General Tafumane was the ZNA Chief of Staff Administration Staff. Peter Chivima, ZBC News, Harare.
Environment patron, First Lady Dr. Zilliam Nangagwa, has called for cleanliness to be embraced as a lifestyle, commending schools across the country for leading the way in sustainable waste management practices.
Environment patron First Lady Dr. Zilliam Nangagwa this Wednesday joined scores of learners and environmental enthusiasts from all the country's provinces at John Talak High School in Matabeleland North Province's Umguza to celebrate the 4th edition of the Emma Clean Schools Competition Awards. John Talak High came out tops in the 2025 National Clean Schools Competition. The environment patron started by touring projects being undertaken by John Talak High School, which include horticulture, waste separation, recycling, pottery, rabbit keeping, detergent making, craft, sewing, and water harvesting. The students also produced a magazine on environmental issues. The environment patron, who marveled at the project, purchased a copy and some farm produce from the learners. Dr. Mnangagwa also planted a mkasha tree at the school, highlighting the benefits of trees to communities. She rallied people to take advantage of the rain season, which is upon us, to plant a lot of trees. Addressing the gathering, Dr. Mnangagwa, who is also the Global Zero Waste Ambassador, said the competition serves as the catalyst for embedding the principles of zero waste and circular economy within the education system.
As the Environment Patron and Global Zero Waste Ambassador, I'm very excited that this competition directly advances our national zero waste agenda, positioning our schools as centers of excellence and models of immediate environments and surrounding communities. It also remains my joy to realize that there's an intrinsic connection between this initiative and our national vision under the National Cleanup Program. This program, launched in 2018 by His Excellency the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa, established a consistent nationwide call to action for a cleaner and healthier Zimbabwe. Today, we are celebrating a flagship initiative that seeks to instill action in the young population towards the attainment of the national vision of a clean, safe, and healthy environment.
Mother Zimbabwe also spoke candidly against drug abuse, sexual relations, and other social vices among youths. She rallied them to pursue professional qualifications. Dr. Zilliam Nangagwa, who graduated with a Doctor of Philosophy degree, PhD in Tourism and Hospitality Management at the Midland State University last November, said her achievement is a testament to her perseverance and determination meant to inspire youths to push beyond their limits. Attaining a PhD at her age, the First Lady said, is a perfect example to young boys and girls that they can achieve their dreams with dedication and focus.
This is the time, Manawangu, that you should study hard. Define yourself who you are, what you want to be in future. Choose that profession that you want to be in after all the school work.
Mother Zimbabwe also held an interactive session with the learners, inquiring from them the dangers of engaging in love affairs at a young age.
How do you understand girlfriend?
I won't say what I know as a girlfriend. I'll say what we know what a girlfriend is. And that is that girl that you're always thinking about, having those dirty thoughts with. Am I right? But the problem is, everyone, or most people here, are under the age of 18. And as long as you're under the age of 18, we can't consider her a girl lover We can't consider you guys a girlfriend and a boyfriend in the intimate sense. In this case, it's now just a rape case. And you're just childhood friends. So, let's stop raping each other, guys.
Primary and high schools which came out tops in the competition were awarded with cash prizes, medals, hampers, among other prizes. The Mother of the Nation gave out prizes and certificates to winning schools. John Talak High School scooped the first prize in the high schools category, while Louis Mountbatten Primary School from Harare Province took first position in the primary schools category. The Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Matabeleland North, Comrade Richard Moy, said the Clean Schools competition is an initiative that demonstrates that environmental stewardship is a culture that uplifts families, communities, districts, and the nation at large.
As we transition into NDS 2 in 2026, environmental sustainability will continue to be a central pillar of our provincial development agenda.
EMA Director General Dr. Aaron Chigona said through the initiative, schools have become successful entrepreneurship centers.
The agency will continue to work with our partners to strengthen these linkages, broaden award categories, to recognize rural excellence, innovation, and ensure that every school can fully participate and benefit.
Mr. David Mukwasha from POSB and Mr. Julian Bono from Eversharp, who are the sponsors, highlighted that the program is instilling a sense of entrepreneurship among youngsters. John Talak School Head thanked the First Lady, who is the environment patron, for her continued support for environmental stewardship.
A clean environment is a shared environment, and this resonates well with what our President, His Excellency, Dr. A.D. Mnangagwa, wishes to see. Hence, he has said every first Friday of the month be a clean-up day to ensure cleanliness throughout. And we ensure the Vision 2030 is attained, as cleanliness is healthy for a productive economy that cares for its natural resources.
The EMA Clean Schools competition seeks to raise awareness on environmental stewardship among students, teachers, schools, and communities. It encourages students to develop and implement creative approaches to waste management within their schools, thus fostering critical thinking and problem-solving skills. Over 2,900 schools participated this year as compared to the previous year, which had 1,041 participants. Colette Msanyera, ZBC News, Umguza. The Zimbabwe Republic Police is working with the South African Police Service to extradite 2 suspects who were arrested in South Africa in connection with the $4 million United States EcoBank robbery, which they say was orchestrated with the aid of an insider. The heist took place at an EcoBank branch in Bulawayo, with suspects seen on camera driving off in a Ford Ranger vehicle.
Probably the biggest bank robbery that the country has ever witnessed. The $4 million United States bank robbery, orchestrated here at EcoBank, has seen the Zimbabwe Republic Police partner their South African counterparts to extradite the notorious Vumbunu brothers who were arrested in South Africa in connection with the bank heist.
We are now working flat out to bring in the Vumbunu brothers. Yesterday, I was engaging with our Interpol office in Harare, and they are saying the South African authorities are now finalizing the logistical issues. When you talk of logistical issues, remember, if somebody is arrested in a foreign country, there are clear protocols to be followed. You can't just take somebody there without, observing their legal requirements.
One of the suspects currently remanded in custody, Begani Mlilo, was also extradited from Botswana on the 19th of November. The police say it is clear an insider was involved in this high-profile case.
We now know the certainty that they're also working with the security guard from the Kamba.
The Bulawayo community is pleased to see the long arm of the law making headways to finally bring to book the bank robbers that left the country shell-shocked. The $4 million United States EcoBank robbery was conducted by a gang of armed robbers using a getaway car. Wearing face masks and armed, the robbers subdued the guards and loaded metal boxes filled with cash in their getaway vehicle before fleeing the scene. Lisa Correra, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
The death toll at an illegal mine shaft in Penalonga, mine shaft in Penalonga, has reached 8, with some of the bodies having been retrieved from the mine shaft and taken to Victoria Chitepo Provincial Hospital in Mutare. The mine shaft collapsed following recent heavy rains in the area. Manicaland Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Advocate Meshek Mogaza, who visited the referral hospital facility this Thursday, confirmed the development.
This is a very unfortunate incident. Nyaya iri pano ndeyekuti vana zvino vaburitswa mutsaona iyi yakaitika kuno kuPenalonga va8. Tiri kuramba zve tichongokurudzira kuti nekudhimanda kuti vana mirai kupinda mumakomba. Some of them are getting into really dangerous shafts. Some have timbered ones, but you can see that even the timbered ones, they now need to be very careful and to make sure it's safe to get down there. Otherwise, tine urombo kuma families varasikirwa nemhuri varasikirwa nevana. As government, we are going to make sure law is enforced. Illegal mining, which is rampant, idiwe.
Now, for these and more stories, you can log on to our website, that's www.zbc.co.zw. You can also visit our X handle at ZBC News Online, and we also have a YouTube handle as well as a Facebook handle, and of course the tagline is at ZBC News Online.
And here are stories still to come in this bulletin. South Africa not invited to G20 2026 as United States President Donald Trump renews claims of white genocide. And in sport, a former FC Platinum coach Norman Mapeza unveiled as Scotland head coach. Join us for these and more stories after this break.
Sharing a ride to another city used to be my way. With InDrive City to City, it's my way. I choose my pickup and drop off, my price, my driver, and pay for just one seat. Share rides your way.
This is a message for all motorists and pedestrians, brought to you by the Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe. Motorists are urged to exercise extreme caution when approaching an intersection. Slow down, stop, give way. Always give precedence to traffic approaching from the right before proceeding, unless the intersection is controlled by police, stop sign or traffic lights. Failure to comply to road sign procedures may result in getting arrested or loss of life. Be on the lookout for pedestrians, cyclists and motorcyclists. Speeding, drunk driving, fatigue and chatting on the phone whilst driving are the major causes of accidents at intersections. Therefore, take heed when approaching intersections, because the life you save might just be your very own. Think safety first before driving. Choose life. The Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe, thriving to keep our roads safe and lives fulfilled.
Zita langu ndichekeza Brian ndini Logistics and Distribution Manager for Supreme Brown Sporal Soft. Tukuti mwedzi uno sevarume tarangarirwa zvakanyanya mwedzi uno wa November. Tukuti sevarume tinosanganawo nematambudziko, asi nekuda kwekuti nguva yese yataikura varume vainzi ndo vakasimba, ndo vari strong, havafanira kunge vachichema, havafanira kunge vachicomplaina. Asi tikuti mwedzi uno izvozvo zvakasara. Sevarume tinokusanganawo nematambudziko inotambudzika muhana dzedu nemumoyo. Ngatisangane sevarume tichikurukura nhau dzinotiafecta sevarume, so that hatigare tichiafecta. Ndo zviri kukonzeresa kuti varume vanozongosungira kutokurudza kufa. Tikuti sevarume ngatisanganei tiite ma-men's groups tichidiscussa zvinhu zvinotiafecta as men. Also, tofanira kujoina zvema-training groups akasiyana-siyana topota tichitrainawo so that we remain healthy as men.
Welcome back to the main news. The Zimbabwe Broadcasting Corporation, ZBC, has turned a new leaf after holding its first annual general meeting in 8 years, a move described by government as a clear signal of renewed accountability, transparency and institutional reform at the national broadcaster.
Addressing ZBC board members, management and other delegates at the annual general meeting,
Minister of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services, Dr. Jenfani Muskwere, who was represented by his deputy, Honorable Ompile Marupi, said the AGM is more than a statutory obligation as it represents a turning point in ZBC's journey towards rebuilding public confidence and restoring its mandate as the nation's public service broadcaster.
Today marks far more than a statutory requirement. It signals a new era of accountability, transparency, and institutional renewal. It is an affirmation that ZBC is on a forward trajectory and that the rebuilding of our national broadcaster is well underway. ZBC holds an irreplaceable responsibility in our society to inform, educate, and entertain the nation, to safeguard our culture and to ensure every citizen is carried along in our national development journey. The work being done here is a direct impact on national cohesion, identity, and the democratic discourse of our country.
ZBC Board Chairman Ms. Hele Trushoya said the AGM demonstrated the corporation's renewed commitment to good corporate governance and transparency.
Today we held our annual general meeting, which is the first one in many years. Last month in October, we held our extraordinary general meeting, which covered the years 2017 up to 2023. And today we were looking at the audited accounts for the year 2024, hence holding the AGM today. And as the board and on behalf of the whole corporation, we are absolutely delighted to have achieved this milestone. It shows the seriousness that we are taking about turning around the corporation.
ZBC Chief Executive Officer Mr. Shuge Chagonda outlined further operational achievements, noting expanded programming with marked improvements in content quality and diversity.
We expanded programming across ZBC TV, ZBC News, and Jive Television, with marked improvements in content quality and diversity. Digital migration continued, resulting in better production standards and a wider digital footprint. Radio services. All national radio stations maintained strong and uninterrupted nationwide service, including Radio Zimbabwe, National FM, Power FM, Classic 263. We also invested in key technical interventions to improve signal reliability. In particular, ZBC capacitated transmedia, improving payments for services rendered to enhance transmission quality, especially for Central FM in Midlands.
Meanwhile, in a strong demonstration of ethical leadership and good corporate governance, ZBC board members and management formally signed integrity pledges after the AGM, pledging to uphold transparency, honesty, and accountability in the execution of their duties. The signing ceremony was witnessed by stakeholders and senior government officials. Other board members signed their integrity pledges earlier this year, reinforcing a collective commitment by the entire board to ethical governance, corporate discipline, and zero tolerance for corruption. Abigail Tembo, ZBC News, Harare.
And on that positive note, we now cross over to our Montrose studios where Sibukele Maposa is on standby to give us part of the bulletin. It's over to you, Sibu.
Thank you very much, Tari. Good evening, Zimbabwe. We now carry on with the news. The modernization of the Beitbridge border post has transformed the flow of traffic with automation of the clearance system, increasing efficiency and reducing corruption.
At the moment, we are processing roughly about 1,000 vehicles per day, which is massive compared to the pre-modernization period. If the system is deciding, it's given the parameters, so it greatly reduces corruption.
Even truck drivers attest to the efficiency of the new system, which has also created employment for locals.
Zvinotibatsira zvikuru nemhosva yekuti pachamboita system yekupindirana yanga iripo because maakunyatso kufamba muri mukiu ani mazvoona saka kureva kuti kana mubhodha mazara bhumu rinokumisai kuti hamuchakwanisi kupinda okiliya mota dziri mukati dzoenda dzimwe dzacho dzoita sei dzichingotera zvakadaro saka atozvikudza zvikuru.
The process is very smooth
It's efficient. You just enter 3 hours, you go to South African side.
Ukulungisa kwebhoda kusilethela amathuba omsebenzi.
Kupfuliwa ka boda lenyowani kuyithusile vo hina vanhu va le kaya leno bridge-ini.
The border is also fixed with big electronic call-out boards that give direction without human interaction.
We believe that as we run with the modernization, the automation gamut, we are heavily contributing into this intention which the national government is programming into everybody to say this country should have an improved economic throughput by the time we reach 2030.
The modernization of Beitbridge border post is one of the key government milestones, and efforts are being put to upgrade other ports of entry, including Forbes border post in Mutare. Aifeli Mudau, ZBC News, Beitbridge.
Key populations in the fight against HIV and AIDS have welcomed government's plan to roll out the injectable lenacapavir, a twice-yearly prevention injection drug, saying it will strengthen the nation's efforts in eradicating HIV and AIDS by 2030.
With statistics from the National AIDS Council revealing that more than 2,000 commercial sex workers work in these streets. This is the main street in Dilibadzingsep, popularly known in the street lingua as Patash Line. And the coming in of the new injectable lenacapavir drug, which is a twice-yearly injectable HIV prevention drug, has been welcomed by some of the commercial sex workers here who believe that it will have far-reaching impact in the country's drive to end AIDS by 2030. And let's find out from some of the people that work in these streets on how this drug will impact their life.
Tinoona kuti zvinobatsira pakuti inini ndogona kuva ndisingamwi mapiritsi but umwe munhu achimwa asi inini ndikabayiwa jekiseni re1 year rinondibatsira pakuti because handizokwanisi kuti kana ndine munhu kana ndava pabasa ndombotora prep ndomwa zvinenge zvichindinonosa pabasa rangu asi kana saizvozvi ndikabayiwa ka2 pagore zviri safe.
Piritsi dzimwe dzenguva anogona kubuda uchiti ndiri kudzoka izvezvi ukanga kuinda naro saka jekiseni rakanaka nokuti paunofamba iwe unenge wakadopedzera ipapo wakangoti asazuva rako rereview.
Injection ndeyavhudi uri achitaviwa injection ukotochimbira nayo chipinga chimwe nachimwe.
With government planning to roll out lenacapavir to key vulnerable groups following its approval by the Medicines Control Authority of Zimbabwe, there is consensus that commercial sex workers are among the priority populations.
In 2 months, they are coming. A lot of these sex workers, even the mothers, even others, are to hide their husbands to find that injection, of which it's the right of everybody to get the injection, isn't it? As long as I just run out, I'm at risk.
Kachitara drango chimbra kacho cheche badana dzindu dzirene pandono dzura ma sex workers manje naone bodhimisira vono vana pfunzo zvidoita kuti baiteni dinangoro badono ngoro bachikonwa ya mwedzi muti.
Speaking at a media briefing in Harare this Thursday, the Minister of Health and Child Care, Dr. Douglas Mombeshera, said lenacapavir, which will be rolled out early next year, will mainly benefit people at substantial risk of HIV infection, including adolescent girls, young women, pregnant and breastfeeding women, key populations, and mobile workers.
Lenacapavir represents a major scientific breakthrough. This long-acting option gives individuals greater convenience, confidence, and privacy, empowering them to protect themselves. This medicine is intended for people at substantial risk of acquiring HIV, including adolescent girls, young women, pregnant and breastfeeding women, key populations, and mobile workers.
With Matabeleland South hosting this year's World AIDS Day on the 1st of December in Umzingwane, these are some of the strategies that have been implemented by government to end AIDS by 2030. Providence Maranelli, ZBC News, Beitbridge.
Zimbabwe's construction sector is expanding on the back of major projects and infrastructural development initiatives, with stakeholders concurring. Government contracts are transforming local companies into competitive regional players.
The Harare-Masvingo Beitbridge Highway stands as a shining example of what local contractors can achieve if they are given an opportunity. It also emerged at the 2025 Zimbabwe Institution of Engineers Investment Conference in Victoria Falls that government projects have propelled an unprecedented leap in human skills and heavy machinery.
We started with very little pieces of equipment when the Harare Bight Bridge project was commissioned. Yeah, but if you look at what we have right now in terms of equipment, our capacity has grown maybe, we can say, 15 or 20 times.
I've seen companies which were struggling before. Now they are actually doing well, and they are actually employing more people.
Execution of major projects has not only proven local capacity but also opened the door to regional opportunities.
They have demonstrated that the capacity is there, and through those projects that they have done, they have also been capacitated. So I can confirm that they are ready to go regional.
Government also credits these achievements to a deliberate policy framework.
At one point, the Harare Bight Bridge Road was to be done by an Austrian company who wanted something like 3.5 billion to do the job. But through the wisdom of His Excellency the President, a decision was made to use local contractors, many of which were very small at the point when they started work, but we have seen capacitation of these contractors from having one grader to having 15. From having 2 bulldozers to having 10.
Riding on the success of the Harare Masvingo Road delivered by local contractors, 8 Zimbabwean companies have since been contracted to rehabilitate the Bulawayo Victoria Falls Road. Tichaona Kurewa, ZBC News, Victoria Falls.
Well, that'll be all from the Montrose News Desk. I am Sibigele Maposa. Now handing back to you, Joyce and Tari, for the rest of the bulletin from this end. Good evening.
Indeed, thank you very much for those stories, Sibu. Now from Bulawayo, we cross over to South Africa, where South Africa says that it notes with regret statements by United States President Donald Trump on South Africa's participation in the 2026 G20 meetings.
Writing on his Truth Socials this Wednesday, Donald Trump renewed claims that a white genocide was unfolding in South Africa, announcing that Pretoria will not be invited to the 2026 meeting of the G20. In response, South Africa said the G20 South Africa 2025 Leaders Summit, attended by several heads of state and government, was held by all those who attended as one of the most successful summits, which produced a declaration that affirmed the indisputable strength and value of multilateralism in response to the most pressing challenges facing the world. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa's spokesperson, Mr. Vincent Magwenya, said that because the United States was not present at the summit, instruments of the G20 presidency were duly handed over to a U.S. official at the headquarters of South Africa's Department of International Relations and Cooperation.
The United States was expected to participate in all meetings of the G20 during South Africa's presidency and elected not to attend the G20 Leaders Summit in Johannesburg out of its own volition. South Africa is a member of the G20 in its own name and right. Its G20 membership is at the behest of all other members. South Africa is also a sovereign, constitutional, democratic country and does not appreciate insults from another country about its worth in participating in global platforms.
Mr. Magwenya went on to state that South Africa is a member of the G20 in its own name and right.
South Africa will continue to participate as a full, active, and constructive member of the G20. We call on all members of the G20 to reaffirm its continued operation in the spirit of multilateralism based on consensus, with all members participating on an equal footing in all of its structures.
South Africa further stated that it is regrettable that President Trump continues to apply punitive measures against South Africa based on misinformation and distortions. relations between Pretoria and Washington have gone sour since the start of Donald Trump's new term in office. Earlier this year, Donald Trump accused South Africa of white genocide. He issued an executive order denouncing the alleged genocide, directed U.S. government agencies to assist in the resettlement of Afrikaners in the U.S., and ordering the stop of all aid and assistance to South Africa.
Let's take a break. We will give you business news when we come back.
Vanoda valisi dziitai aye varimi vese itai aye vanoda go itai aye simudza gorako kurumiza ndogona kungoti oyo vavalisi dzipada moyo vanyai vana amai nana baba kurumiza mbeu kwayo ri kuvhalisitsi airowe nezvivukuto kana tsikitsi kana zvirwere ende nokupa harvest apa ndiri kurevesa very honest nevhalisitsi itai aye varimi vese itai aye vanoda go.
Mwaka uno tenga mbeu yako ku Valley Seeds usimudze goho rako. Valley Seeds vauchiki vembeu yechibage yepana nepioneer goros ma-traditional grains nema-vegetable seeds ose anopa goho repamusoro-soro. Valley Seeds, where farming meets the farmer.
Festive is here, Shah. First Street lights up and suddenly the vibe is back. It stretches from Harare to Hollywood, even to Old Trafford. Jesse Jiri Festive. All I want this festive season? The stories that keep us hooked. The ngoma, the rhythm, the laughter, the drama, the goals, the world-class entertainment that brightens up the holidays for the whole family. All I want is DSTV.
Welcome back. Zimbabwe's small and medium enterprises sector continues to grow in leaps and bounds thanks to the new technologies and policy interventions by government.
The latest Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Survey report has shown the spotlight on the sector's contribution of over 60% to the national gross domestic product, alongside notable gains in employment creation and innovation. The report was unveiled at an engagement held in Harare on Wednesday night.
This survey is important because it has highlighted the areas where we need to concentrate on in order to empower our small to medium enterprises. And also, it also assists government towards channeling their resources.
We saw growth from the SMEs. There is so much optimism looking at the future in as much as the challenges that they are facing. There is shallow formalization where they are struggling with certain elements to do with compliance, but the good thing is they are willing to participate in certain activities.
With the sector contributing significantly to value chains and livelihoods, government says ongoing reforms, including improved access to funding, workspace development and capacitation programs, are meant to position MSMEs as key drivers of Vision 2030.
Also facilitate startup development training in collaboration with key stakeholders such as ZIMRA, Standard Association of Zimbabwe, ZimTrade, and Registrar of Companies.
The MSMEs survey report is expected to inform broader national strategies aimed at strengthening value chains, boosting exports and accelerating the country's march towards Vision 2030. Wellington Makonese, ZBC News, Harare.
From business, we're giving you the arts news, and Zimbabwe has risen to the world stage with a historic triumph after 26-year-old beauty Yolanda Chimbarami emerged the first runner-up at Miss International 2025.
Joining her in the top 5, Miss Zimbabwe.
This Thursday night in Tokyo, Japan, Yolanda Chambarami became the first runner-up at Miss International 2025, a moment that instantly rewrites Zimbabwe's pageant history. She surpasses the feat achieved by Angeline Musasiwa, who mastered an iconic 4th place finish at Miss World 1994. For the first time, Zimbabwe stands among the top 2 in a Big 4 pageant, Miss International, which is classified among the prestigious beauty competitions for women, ranked among Miss World, Miss Universe, and Miss Earth. Chimbarami's grace, confidence, and clarity carried Zimbabwe through, and she earned the continental crown of Miss International Africa Continental 2025. The global title went to Catalina, Duke of Colombia. 80 contestants battled for the crown at the show, which opened with a vibrant national costume parade. Only 3 African countries, Zimbabwe, South Africa, and Angola, placed in top 20, but the night's defining moment belonged to Zimbabwe. Chimbarami lifted the national flag higher than it was ever been lifted on this stage, as she proved that Zimbabwe's time on the world stage is now. Patience Nyagato, SABC News, Harare.
Well, congratulations to Yolanda. You have raised our country's flag high. On that note, we take a break. When we return, we join Lawrence Trusida for our daily dose of sport.
Texting while driving. What a dangerous thing to do on the wheel. Be smart. Put the phone down. Don't text and drive. This message is brought to you by the Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe. Safety first. There is no second chance.
Festive is here, Shah. First Street lights up, and suddenly the vibe is back. It stretches from Harare to Hollywood, even to Old Trafford. Jesse Jiri Festive. All I want this festive season? The stories that keep us hooked. The ngoma, the rhythm, the laughter, the drama, the goals, the world-class entertainment that brightens up the holidays for the whole family. All I want is DSTV.
Sharing a ride to another city used to be my way. With InDrive City to City, it's my way. I choose my pickup and drop off, my price, my driver, and pay for just one seat. Share rides your way.
Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us on our Sports News this evening as we get to give you what has been happening through the day. My name is Lawrence Trusida. We start off in Mavuku, where former FC Platinum coach Nomene Mapeza has been unveiled as the new head coach for the newly crowned PSL champions Scotland. Mapeza's appointment comes barely a day after Tondra left Scotland. Ironically, Mapeza waved a goodbye to FC Platinum on Sunday after a decade-long trophy-laden stay in the Shavane. The former Warriors captain and coach signed a 2-year contract on Thursday afternoon. Mapeza has a rare continental pedigree, having guided Monomtap and FC Platinum to the group stages of the CAF Champions League, a milestone that has been achieved by a very few coaches. The track record fits into Scotland's next chapter as they prepare for their debut continental campaign in the CAF Champions League. So they, Nomene Mapeza Mshino Majuzi, now at Scotland. Let's see how he goes about his business. Staying with football news, former Dynamo's coach Genesis Mangombe is gunning for his second Chibuku Super Cup trophy as he leads a triangle in Saturday's final against the Glamour Boys at Gibbo Stadium.
In 2023 is plotting the downfall of his former paymasters. This Saturday is more than just a match day, it's a date with destiny as the Sugar Boys prepare to host Giants Dynamos, who have won the last 2 editions. Triangle are also gunning for glory to appease fans who stood by team as they fought for survival in the top flight until the last day.
We are so much prepared, and also with that survival bonus for us, I think we are good to go. It's a cup game, and there's nothing less than a win. We just need to win this game at all costs.
The Sugar Boys are hoping to win their second Chibuku Super Cup after winning the coveted trophy in 2018. Gay Matambo, ZBC News, Triangle.
Staying with football news, we move on to the Warriors, where former national team captain Benjani Mwariwari has urged the nation to rally behind the Warriors if the nation is to finally go beyond the group stages of the Africa Cup of Nations.
When he goes at that speed, just minutes later now, long ball from Shimedza out of his own half. Oh, what a mistake by Ahmed! And it's 2-0. Portsmouth's Benjani with a score.
Benjani, who featured at the 2006 Africa Cup of Nations, says the country has seen talented squads crash out early due to avoidable challenges off the field. The former Manchester City star highlighted that previous campaigns were overshadowed by disruptions, including contract disputes and player strikes, either on the eve of the tournament or during crucial group matches. He believes giving the coach a united dressing room and a stable environment will help Zimbabwe overcome the barrier that has haunted the nation in all 5 previous appearances.
If we can support him in terms of organization, in terms of giving him what he needs, the players, they need to have what they're supposed to be given. Of late, you know, we've been struggling up until this time. You see the players fighting until the last day before they leave to AFCON. We don't want that.
Meanwhile, the man tasked with guiding the Warriors through the 6th AFCON appearance, Marian Marinika, is also echoing calls for unity.
I'm 100% sure that with the technical staff and with the executive committee support and everyone, I think we'll get there. Maybe sometimes, maybe quicker. Like I have the philosophy fast and very fast, which actually means think fast, act fast, move fast, be all prepared and organized.
Zimbabwe will travel to Morocco with 1 goal, finally breaking past the first round.
Is 2025 the year that Zimbabwe will go through to the second round? Let's just wait and see. Remember, the tournament kicks off next month, and Zimbabwe's first match will be on Unity Day. But that puts a wrap on sports news this evening, and it's now time for the weather update.
Hello, welcome to the Weather Report and Focus. We had notable rainfall amounts recorded in Chipinge, which were 55 millimeters, and 42 in Zaka, as well as 39 millimeters in Chisengo. This was due to the availability of moisture in the atmosphere. Now, at the moment, we have a field of moisture that came in from the west and is currently affecting the western parts of the country, much north as well as Matabele and south, and resulting in isolated afternoon showers. And we're expecting this activity to persist into Friday, resulting in isolated showers across much parts of the country. Now tonight, cloud conditions should affect the western parts of the country due to the availability of moisture over the western regions. And as we get into tomorrow, it should be generally warm to hot across much parts of the country, with highest temperatures recorded in Kariba with a 39, mostly sunny there, while the rest of the country should be partly cloudy, becoming cloudy in the afternoon. Blawa is forecast to be mild in the morning, becoming warm by the afternoon. Chances of isolated showers in places. Same applies for Matopo, though mild at first with hot afternoons. Gwanda should be partly cloudy in the morning, becoming cloudy as the day progresses with mild conditions in the morning. Same applies for Gweru, mild at first, becoming warm by the afternoon. Chances of isolated showers during the afternoons. For Masvingo as well, cloud conditions should prevail with mild morning conditions in the morning and warm afternoons. East and northeasterly winds are expected for Mutare for Friday and Saturday, with 20% chance of rainfall. Nyanga as well, cloud conditions with cool morning conditions are expected as well, with warm afternoons. Marondera should be mild in the morning, becoming hot by the afternoon, with chances of isolated showers in the afternoon. For Harare as well, we're expecting mild conditions in the morning, getting hotter by the day with chances of isolated showers. Same applies for Kadoma, partly cloudy with chances of isolated showers in places. Same applies for Chinhoyi. And as we get into next week, we are expecting more rainfall activity for Victoria Falls, though mild in the morning. Lupani should be partly cloudy for much of the day with chances of isolated showers in places. For Bindura, rainfall activity is expected into next week. Kariba is all sunny. Conditions are expected, though mild in the morning with hot afternoon conditions throughout the forecast period. That's all weather news today. Good evening, Zimbabwe.
Many thanks to the Weather Department for giving us the weather forecast. And that concludes tonight's news bulletin. Thank you for watching.
Good night.